Welcome back. I'm now joined by the Press Secretary Jonas Mbambo to talk about the President's final cabinet meeting that took place this morning and expectations for the year 2026. Good evening, Jonas, and welcome to Daily Roundup.
Well, good evening, Salima, and thank you so much for having me.
All right, just to start off, can you give us a quick overview of what was discussed at the final cabinet meeting that happened this morning?
Yeah, well, first and foremost, I think it's very important to understand that, if you're not a cabinet member, you don't get to sit in the cabinet meetings. But we did have an opportunity to have an insight of the opening of the closing session, which was the 32nd sitting that it had this year. And the final cabinet opening, basically in her speech, focused on reviewing progress made this year and setting a firm pace for 2026. Now, the president also reminded ministers that NDP 6 is already in motion, and the priority now is tightening implementation, improving coordination, and making sure that bottlenecks are cleared. Basically, the groundwork is now in place, and it's all about delivery going forward.
The president mentioned progress in job creation, food security, education, and health. Could you highlight some key achievements in these areas?
Yeah, let's start off with education, and I think we've all been reading about it in the news. And the major highlight in that sector was the finalization of the higher education subsidization framework. Now, this is a game-changing reform. It has never been done before. What it means is that from next year, no qualifying Namibian child should be excluded from university or vocational training centers because of a lack of money. In other words, registration and tuition will be catered for, and that's for your undergrad qualifications. Basically, to qualify academically, you should rather be able to study, and that's non-negotiable as far as the aid administration is concerned. Now, government understands that some people are skeptical about this because it's new, and like they say, change is the only constant. But in as much as change is the only constant, people still are uncomfortable with it, even on a personal level. Whether you want to lose weight or save some money or embark on in uncharted territory, it will be uncomfortable. And we thoroughly understand. But the groundwork is done, and we've come too far to retreat. And we believe that this will open real opportunities for young Namibians to ensure that talent and not income is the one that shapes their future. The National Youth Fund, and as far as job creation is concerned, the president has been, almost in every statement that she makes, spoke about the National Youth Development Fund and how young people should take advantage of it. The first cohort supported 42 youth-owned projects with just under 15 million paid out and around 315 jobs expected. The second group approved 66 projects with about 37.7 million dollars allocated and about 404 jobs projected. Now, a lot of people have been asking about the 500,000 jobs and how they will be created. And the president has time and time re-emphasized that government does not directly create jobs, but what government does is create the right conditions. In other words, we should have stable policies, where people should have access to finance, and supportive environment for entrepreneurs. If you remember, recently we had the Namibia Public-Private Forum where various stakeholders from government and private sector put their heads together to figure out how we can address the common challenges that we face as a country. And that also gave birth to the 3 task forces that we have seen, one on health, one on housing and land, and also on economic recovery. It's a first of its kind, and it says a lot about how intentional the aid administration is about changing the status quo. Coming back to the National Youth Fund, I think it's very important to mention that young people must treat this opportunity responsibly. They must take advantage of it, but they must treat it responsibly. In other words, every cent must be accounted for. We know that when people get some money to start a business, they are tempted to touch the profits, and that should not be the case. That's why we've incorporated the mentorship aspect as well. And that's how trust is built for a long time. And even now, young people always complain about them not being given opportunities. And now the opportunity has been given. And as the saying goes, that to whom much is given, much is tested. And this is that test for young entrepreneurs to show that they can move from employment seekers to becoming employment creators. Lastly, agriculture, which is also, one of the major focus areas. If you remember earlier this year, the head of state, including, various, high-ranking office officials, government officials, visited various green scheme projects in the Zambezi, Kavango, East, West, and Omusati region to just determine what it is that is not making these green schemes as profitable as they should be. And I can confidently say that, we are progressing, quite well, through expanded irrigation and green schemes and also on the health. The medication supply has stabilized through the strengthened procurement systems directly from the suppliers instead of depending on the middlemen. So if you happen to be in a region where there is a green scheme project, please go out there. Watermelons are all over. There are also those that produce other goods as well. So please do go out there and support them.
Now, Jonas, how does the ruling party's strong showing in the recent elections influence government plans moving forward? I know I was covering an event over the weekend, the SWAPO Youth League, where the president was giving a speech at the opening ceremony, and she urged the councillors that were in attendance to deliver, because the Namibians have trusted them in terms of going out and voting and giving the ruling party a chance.
Absolutely. Yeah, well, the president has time and time noted that the recent election results give government now political stability and the momentum that it needs to move forward. And the reality is this, Salima, politics is a numbers game. If we don't have the majority, individuals in influential positions can block or slow down your agenda. So the ruling party winning many local authorities and retaining leadership across regional councils creates alignment from national to regional and to local level. It means that the SWAPO Party manifesto, which government is executing, can finally be pushed forward without unnecessary resistance. So in simple words, it opens up space for smoother delivery. And she was right by saying that councillors should not take this for granted. People have given them their confidence, and now it's time to deliver. And the message is very clear from the head of state that those who are not delivering will be dealt with.
Indeed. And the president also emphasized better coordination between political leaders and administrators. How will this be achieved in practice?
Yeah, just to give context on how that came about was that this was strongly emphasized during last week's cabinet retreat. Now, the cabinet retreat is designed to ensure that, cabinet ministers, EDs, and everyone else involved at that decision-making level are singing from the same hymn book. So one of the key presentations highlighted how crucial a healthy working relationship between the ministers and EDs is. If that relationship collapses, basically implementation doesn't exist. So going forward, it was recommended that there should be stronger communication, continuous engagement, and the clarity of roles will guide the interaction between the political leaders and the administrators. So in a nutshell, ministers give direction and executive directors drive execution. So when the two move in harmony, government works, and when they don't, things fall apart. Like China Achebe, and the country can't afford that, not at this time.
Of course. Jonas, we are running out of time. Just shortly, what message did the president have for Namibians as the festive season is approaching?
Yeah. The president is set to deliver her New Year's message soon, but I think like any other leader, her message will be quite simple, and it's that Namibia belongs to all of us. Especially at this time, we need to celebrate responsibly. It's a festive season. We need to look out for one another. And it's been a long year. We need to take time to rest, to rejuvenate, spend time with our loved ones, and enter the new year ready to contribute. And concluding by saying that, look, nation building is a shared work, and that every Namibian has a role to play. The president definitely can't do it by herself. She needs all hands on deck, and that means each and every one of us.
All right. Well, Jonas, thank you so much for taking time to talk to us this evening.
Much obliged, Salima. Thank you so much, and thank you so much for your viewers as well.
All right. That was Press Secretary Jonas Mbambo talking to us about the President's final cabinet meeting that took place this morning and expectations that is for 2026. Namibia Daily Roundup will continue.